Hey Ranger fans. I've been debating whether I wanted to do this video or not, but it felt wrong not to do it. Um, because the name of my channel is literally Golden Green Ranger. And I've said many times in the past I don't like to get into Ranger's personal life or anything like that, and I still never plan to. Um, but I can't ignore the news that I learned today. Um, and I'm sure a lot of us are all heartbroken together. Um, But instead of getting into the how and whys and what's going on, I just want to remember him, um, not through anything but personal stories that always connected me to Jason David Frank. Um, it's hard, and I'm still in kind of shock that he's gone, and I'm sure we all are. And I'm sorry if this video is incoherent, but I just I don't. I'm literally at a loss of words. Besides, like, that's not a great feeling to know that he's gone. Um. Anyway, I just wanted to say, and I've shared this before. I started watching Power Rangers in the beginning in '93. Before school, me and my brother we would get up and we'd get ready for school, and then we'd watch the episode of Power Rangers debuting that day. And I don't remember a lot. I was 6 at the time, but I do remember running and telling my brother at the end of an episode that um, they said next time on Power Rangers we're getting an evil ranger, and they introduced Tommy, who quickly became my favorite Power Ranger of all time, and somebody I just loved and continued watching the show for. And even when he left in Turbo, I always secretly hoped he would come back, which he did. Way later on, and different guest appearances and stuff, which was really neat. But the two stories I wanted to share was one, something I think we can all remember, which was the debut of the White Ranger. Um, I was grounded that day when they decided they were going to debut the White Ranger. I don't remember what I did. I was 7, 8 at max, and I was grounded, and I was not allowed to watch it. My older brother was not grounded, so the deal we came up with was I would pull a chair. Well, my brother's idea actually. We would pull a chair to the end of his bedroom, and he would watch the episode and just give me a play-by-play, so I didn't miss anything. Discovering who was going to be the White Ranger, and there was so much speculation on the playground and school, and who was going to be the White Ranger. And I just remember the excitement in my brother's voice when the helmet came off and he screamed at the top of his lungs, "It's Tommy, it's Tommy." And I remember jumping up and down, just so happy that he had came back. And not only was he coming back, he was back for good as the new White Ranger. And it's a memory I always have, and it's something I always dwell on, a lot, because I lost my older brother a couple of years ago, and I don't know if you've ever been through grief or losing somebody that you expected to be there the next day, but it's never a good feeling to know that they're gone. And I miss my brother every day. And I'm so appreciative that we have that memory. And it's one of the reasons I started collecting Power Rangers in general, is just to remember him, because he was always a big collector of figurines. Not so much Power Rangers, just figurines. And the way I remembered him was just collecting an amazing memory me and him had, which was watching Power Rangers together as kids. And it was a great moment, and I'm just so thankful that that existed, so I could have that memory between me and him. But 9 months ago, I got an opportunity to meet Jason David Frank, and I drove out there. It was a decent drive, and you can look at this channel. I'm not a huge YouTuber. I don't have any audience whatsoever. Um, but I came in there, and I number one just wanted to meet him and tell him how much he meant to me, and number two, just see him in the flesh would have been awesome. But I convinced myself I was going to work up the courage and ask him for an interview for my channel. And I came in, the line was huge. We waited there for hours. There were so many people that loved this man, and we waited in line and waited in line. And I got up there with my family, and my youngest, whose favorite Power Ranger is the Red Ranger, Jason. He looked Jason David Frank in the face and said, "Oh, you're my second favorite. My favorite is the Red Ranger." And he laughed and thought it was the funniest thing and said, "That's awesome. I'm glad I can be your second favorite." And my kids drew him some pictures, which he was so happy to look at, and he took and even posed to take a picture with those pictures I drew of him. And it was a nice moment. But after a few minutes, I worked up the courage, and I talked to his handler or agent or whoever was running the event for him that day, this nice young lady, and I said, do you think, obviously not right now, but when he has some time, he could do an interview for my YouTube channel? And she said, I'll ask him, and, I'll let him know. The night ended, and everybody was leaving, and he was saying his goodbyes, and the girl came back over to me and said, unfortunately, we don't have any time to do that today, but it was very nice meeting you. And he stopped her and said, well, no, wait, what was that about? And she said he wants to do an interview. And he said, yeah, no, absolutely. Come on up, buddy. And I walked up to him. My heart is pounding, and I said, dude, it would be a really short interview. I'm just going to ask you some fun questions and everything like that. And he said, yeah, man, go ahead. No problem. And then he smiled and he goes, well, can I know what the questions are so you don't catch me off guard? And I told him about what the questions would be, kind of. And he said, sure, man, shoot. So we turned the camera on. We recorded. If you guys have seen that video, I had it edited in such a way because I was so nervous doing my first ever interview with him, well, the only interview I got with him, that like my voice was literally cracking and I was whispering, so I had to dub over my own voice and ask him the questions. And he was the professional, and he was very loud, and you could hear him clear. So the video didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to, but it was just to be like I interviewed him, which was awesome. But what I remembered most was at the end of the interview, he literally looked at me. He said, "Man, that was really fun. Thank you." And he patted me on the back, and he said, "It was really nice meeting you." And I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, I literally used to have you on my underwear as a kid. Like, you're such a legend, and you're so amazing and so beloved, and everybody's favorite. And I literally named my YouTube channel partly after you, just because how much I love the Green Ranger, and how it makes me feel every time seeing him, and when he was morphing, and just the innocence it brought back to me. And the fact that he thanked me was just incredible. And I know he was just being polite, but like he didn't have to. He didn't have to stop his agent or handler and say, no, I'll do the interview. He didn't have to give me the time, because he was, I mean, I'm telling you, he was there for, had been 8 hours. He sat there meeting, signing autographs, and talking to everybody, and being as polite and cordial as can be. And after all that's done, to sit there with some YouTuber that he'd never even heard of, to be like, yeah, no problem, man. We'll do some stuff and talk about what you want to talk about. And it's not like he turned down any of the questions or anything like that. Like every question I wanted to ask, he agreed to and said, yeah, sure, that sounds fun. And I thought that was incredible. You know what I mean? That was 9 months ago, and I had no idea how lucky I was to get that opportunity. I mean, I knew I was lucky, but I didn't know 9 months later he would be gone. And it's heartbreaking, because this was a childhood hero, man. And I just, if you take anything away from this video, and I don't want to make it about myself, I just wanted to be open and honest and share how I personally, what came through my mind today, which was those two events in my life. If we can just remember him, and not talk about, people's personal life, just remember how awesome and how amazing he was to everybody, and how cordial and incredible, and how much he loved the franchise and fans. And let's just remember him for that, being an incredible guy that, always took care of his fans, number one. So just a coincidence that Friday that Buddy came in. I had no idea when that Dragon Zord came in and I opened it that that would be the last Lightning Collection thing I get in before finding this out, and it just coincidentally happened to be the Dragon Zord. So, no crazy editing on this, no intro, outro. I just really wanted to speak to the heart, or from the heart, and say, I'm gonna miss you, Jason. I'm really gonna miss you. I think we all are. May your family and friends get through this grieving process as healthy as they can. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you don't have time to grieve. You can grieve in your own way. It's nobody's business how you grieve. Um, and I just want to say to this Power Ranger community, I love being a part of this. I love meeting Ranger fans. I literally met my best friend in a Power Ranger fan group. So I'm very thankful for this franchise. And Jason, David, Frank, you were a huge part of why the fans exist. So thank you. You will be missed and loved. And got nothing else to say, but I love you guys.